50 years ago, it was a country in ruins. Today, 22 million people a year come to witness it. Vietnam, a nation of 102 million people, stretching 1,650 kilometers from its mountainous north to its tropical south. Home to 54 distinct ethnic groups living side by side in one of the most layered, surprising, and quietly extraordinary countries on Earth. The world's largest cashew producer, its second largest coffee producer, an economy accelerating at record pace, powered by a population where 70% of people are under 35. Vietnam absorbed 1,000 years of occupation, a century of colonization, and 20 years of devastating war. Each time, it stood back up. And today, it is moving faster than almost anyone predicted. Street food here earns Michelin stars. Tech startups born in crowded alleyways are attracting Silicon Valley investment. Ancient temples and ultra-modern towers share the same skyline. And somewhere in between all of it, in the daily rhythm of 102 million lives, Vietnam reveals what it truly is, a country that refuses to be defined by anything except its own relentless forward motion. This is Vietnam, and it is nothing like you imagined. In the year 1010, a king looked out over the Red River Delta and decided to build a capital here. He called it the city within the river, Hanoi. Today, 8 million people call it home. But numbers alone cannot capture what Hanoi is. It is a city built on memory. Its old quarter, 36 streets now listed on the UNESCO World Heritage Register, was Pershing 1. Laid out in the 11th century, each street devoted to a single trade. Hang Bek, Silver Street. Hang Ma, Paper Street. Hang Gai, Silk Street. Centuries later, those same streets still hum with their original purpose. The craft hasn't disappeared. It has simply continued, unhurried, while the world around it accelerated. Walk these lanes in the early morning, when the light is still soft and the city hasn't fully woken, and Hanoi's other life reveals itself. Plastic stools on the bustle, small cups of café soda, Vietnamese iced coffee, strong brewed, sweetened with condensed milk, poured over ice. Vietnam is the world's second largest coffee producer, but what the Vietnamese did with coffee was entirely their own. The French introduced the bean. The Vietnamese made it into something else. A ritual, a pause, a reason to sit still for 20 minutes in a city that never entirely stops. Several times a day, something extraordinary happens on a narrow residential lane near the Old Quarter. The train comes, not at a station, through the street itself. Cafe owners collect their tables. Street vendors step to the side. The train passes within arm's reach of the buildings on both sides. Then, as quickly as it came, it's gone. Life resumes. Tables return to the pavement. This is Train Street, and it is not a performance. It is simply pastime. Tuesday. At the center of the city, Hon Kiem Lake holds its own legend. In the 15th century, according to Vietnamese tradition, King Le Loi found a magical sword in these waters and used it to drive out the Chinese occupiers. After his victory, a giant turtle rose from the lake and reclaimed the sword. Legend. Or maybe not, because in 2011, a rare giant softshell turtle was confirmed to be living in this lake. When it died, the entire city mourned. But to truly know Hanoi, you must eat. In 2016, Barack Obama sat on a plastic stool in a Bun Cha restaurant and ate noodles for less than $6. The restaurant has been historic ever since. But here is the truth. That quality of food exists on virtually every street corner in this city. The bill runs between $2 and $5. Hanoi doesn't need a famous visitor to validate its food. It has always known what it is. There are places in the world that photographs cannot prepare you for. Halong Bay is one of them. Thousands of limestone karsts rise directly from the surface of the water, some small, some enormous, all of them draped in jungle, their bases hollowed by centuries of waves. The light moves differently here. In the early morning, mist sits between the formations and the water is perfectly still, and you understand, for a moment, why the Vietnamese named this place where the dragon descends into the sea. The biodiversity within the bay is staggering. More than 200 species of fish, 450 species of mollusk, some found nowhere else on the planet. The bay is a closed world. Ancient, intricate, irreplaceable. 6 million tourists visit each year. The Vietnamese government aims to grow that to 8 million by 2030, but it has also moved to protect what makes the bay worth visiting. Single-use plastics have been banned across the bay. The number of boats allowed to operate has been strictly capped. Environmental protection projects are running continuously. But Halong Bay is not only a tourist destination. 1,600 people live here, on the water, in floating villages, in homes that have been in the same family for generations. They fish, they cultivate oysters, they produce pearls. While the cruise boats drift past, these communities continue the life they have always lived, on the water, as their parents and grandparents did before them. At 3,143 meters above sea level, Fansipan is the highest point in Vietnam, the highest in the entire Indochina Peninsula. Until 2016, reaching its summit required 2 days of difficult mountain trekking. Then the world's longest single-track cable car was built, 6,292 meters of cable, lifting passengers from the valley floor to the summit in 15 minutes. A journey that once demanded 2 days of physical endurance now takes a quarter of an hour. At the top, a modern Buddhist temple complex awaits. Whether this feels like progress or loss depends entirely on who is asking. Conservationists argue that the mountain's character has been fundamentally altered. Others point out that the summit is now accessible to elderly visitors, to families with young children, to anyone who wants to stand at the roof of Indochina, regardless of their physical condition. On clear days, you can see all the way to the Chinese border. The debate is real. The view is breathtaking. Both things are true simultaneously. "25 years ago, Da Nang had 500,000 people. Today, it has 1.2 million. Its economy has tripled. Forbes named it one of Asia's most enviable cities. My Kay Beach, 30 kilometers of white sand and turquoise water, made Forbes' list of the world's 6 most beautiful beaches. American soldiers called it China Beach during the war. Today, surfers come for waves that break perfectly year-round in water that stays between 25 and 28 degrees. At the center of the city, the Dragon Bridge spans 666 meters across the Han River. It opened in 2013. It is not an ordinary bridge. It was designed in the shape of a dragon, fitted with 2,500 LED lights that shift color every evening. And on Saturday and Sunday nights at 9 o'clock, the dragon's head opens and breathes fire over the river. Real fire. Thousands of people gather on the riverbanks to watch. Da Nang is young in every sense of the word. 60% of its population is under 35. Technology companies are moving in. Startups are multiplying. Digital nomads from across the world have begun to settle here, drawn by the combination of modern infrastructure, low cost of living, and the kind of beach that, in most places, would cost a fortune to live near. Da Nang doesn't present itself as a city you visit and leave behind. It presents itself as a city that follows you home. In 1919, the French colonial administration built a resort at 1,500 meters elevation in the hills above Da Nang. The logic was simple. At that altitude, the temperature drops dramatically, and the heat of Saigon and Da Nang below becomes irrelevant. For decades it thrived. Then, in the 1940s, it was abandoned. The jungle reclaimed it. In the 2000s, the Sun Group purchased the land and built something extraordinary from its ruins. The cable car system alone would be remarkable, 5,801 meters long, rising 1,292 meters in elevation, listed in the Guinness World Records when it opened in 2013. The 20-minute journey carries passengers up through tropical forest, past waterfalls, into cloud cover so thick that visibility drops to 0. And then, suddenly, the clouds break, and Ba Na Hills appears. Designed as a medieval European city, cathedrals, cobbled squares, French colonial architecture, the complex is not a replica of any real place, but an original creation. 5 million visitors come each year. Most of them come, at least in part, for the Golden Bridge. When it opened in 2018, a single photograph went around the world. 2 enormous stone hands, weathered and ancient-looking, emerging from the hillside, holding a golden footbridge, 150 meters long, 1,400 meters above sea level. Time magazine placed it on its list of the world's 100 greatest places. The hands are not ancient. They were designed intentionally to appear that way, representing the concept of divine hands lifting the mountains. Vietnamese architect Vu Viet Ang built it in a single year. Walking across the Golden Bridge is a disorienting experience. Mountains on one side, clouds moving below and around you on the other. Sometimes the clouds are so dense that the hands at either end of the bridge disappear completely. Then the wind shifts, the clouds clear, and you are standing above a 1,500-meter drop with nothing but sky in every direction. Inside the complex, a 5-star hotel, restaurants, the Daybay wine cellar built by the French in 1923 and still holding 300 varieties, a 27-meter white Buddha statue, the Lin Pagoda, a full fantasy entertainment park, an alpine coaster, and a wax museum. At night, the temperature drops to 15 degrees, while Da Nang below bakes at 30. Thousands of LED lights and laser shows transform the complex into something between a dream and a film set. The controversy surrounding Ba Na Hills is genuine. Environmentalists point to habitat destruction. Cultural critics argue the Disneyland aesthetic undermines Vietnam's authenticity. Economists respond with employment figures and regional income data. The Vietnamese government has announced plans to develop Ba Na Hills into a sustainable tourism model. The debate will continue. The visitors keep coming.
Ready to unlock something amazing? You don't want to miss what's next. Every like, every comment, and especially every share helps us create more jaw-dropping content just for you. So hit that subscribe button right now to join our incredible community.
There are cities that are beautiful in photographs, and then there is Hoi An, which is beautiful in a way that photographs actually fail to capture. Every evening, thousands of silk and bamboo lanterns in every color and shape illuminate the streets of the old quarter, their light reflecting in the Thu Bon River, painting everything in gold, amber, and crimson. Yellow-painted colonial facades, narrow lanes wide enough for one person, the sound of water, the smell of food from 100 small kitchens. But Hoi An is not merely decorative. It is one of the most historically significant cities in Southeast Asia. For 4 centuries, from the 1400s to the 1800s, Hoi An was among the most important trading ports in the region. Chinese merchants came, Japanese traders came, Dutch, Portuguese, Indian, all of them came, drawn by silk, porcelain, spices, and precious metals. The city grew wealthy. It grew cosmopolitan, and when the trading era ended and the port silted up, the city was simply preserved, left behind by history, kept intact by the absence of development rather than by any deliberate effort to protect it. Today, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Japanese Covered Bridge, built by the Japanese merchant community in 1593, serving simultaneously as bridge and Buddhist temple, is Hoi An's most recognized symbol. Its image appears on the 20,000 Vietnamese dong banknote. On the 14th day of every lunar month, the city cuts its electric lights entirely. Only lanterns remain. The streets fill with thousands of people releasing paper wish lanterns onto the river. The light from hundreds of floating candles mixing with the red lanterns hanging from the shuttered windows overhead. It is one of the most visually extraordinary regular events in all of Southeast Asia. Hoi An is also one of the world's great cities for bespoke tailoring. Over 400 tailor shops operate here, most capable of producing a custom suit, dress, or pair within 24 hours. Politicians, celebrities, and business people from around the world come specifically for this. The quality is exceptional. The price is a fraction of what comparable work would cost elsewhere. Just outside the city, in the coconut forests of Cam Than Village, another experience entirely awaits. Round bamboo basket boats, originally used by local fishermen to navigate the shallow canals and, during the colonial period, to carry goods while avoiding taxation, now carry visitors through palm-lined waterways. The boats spin gently in the current. The canopy closes overhead. For a few minutes, the modern world simply disappears. Officially, its name changed in 1976, but ask almost anyone who lives here what city they're from, and they will say Saigon. The name changed. The spirit was never redirected. Ho Chi Minh City is home to 9 million people officially and 13 million in reality. Vietnam's economic capital, its financial heart, the engine of the country's transformation, and one of the most energetic urban environments in all of Asia. Landmark 81 towers above everything else. At 461 meters, it is Southeast Asia's tallest building and the 15th tallest on Earth. Its upper floors hold luxury residences, a hero cabinet, and a concert hall. A penthouse holds luxury residences, a hotel, a shopping mall, and an observation deck. Standing there, looking out across the city from the 79th floor, the scope of Vietnam's transformation becomes undeniable. French colonial facades on one side, towers of glass and steel stretching to the horizon on the other. The French presence is still visible everywhere. Notre Dame Cathedral, completed in 1880. Its bricks shipped directly from Marseille, still stands. The Central Post Office, designed by Gustave Eiffel, yes, the same Eiffel, still functions, still accepts letters, still sends postcards. Its interior, with its soaring iron frame ceiling and enormous portrait of Ho Chi Minh, is among the most beautiful functional buildings in Vietnam. Ben Thanh Market has operated since 1912. Inside, food, fruit, clothing, jewelry, handicrafts. The bargaining culture is alive, but not aggressive. Vendors here are famously warm and funful, frequently funny. After 6 in the evening, the street outside closes to traffic. Tables appear. The area transforms into a sprawling night food court, the kind that gives you no reason to go anywhere else. Nguyen Hue Street, the city's central boulevard, closed to vehicles in 2015, becomes a nightly gathering place. Families, couples, street musicians, performance artists, children chasing each other between the fountains. Ho Chi Minh himself watches from a statue at the boulevard's head, looking out over a city that has become something he may not have fully anticipated. The Mekong rises in Tibet. It travels 4,350 kilometers through 6 countries before reaching Vietnam, where it splits into 9 separate channels as it approaches the sea. The Vietnamese call it Cue Long, the 9-Dragon River, and on those 9 channels and the 1,000 smaller waterways that branch from them, an entire civilization exists. You cannot understand the Mekong Delta from a road or a map. The only way in is by water. Wide motorized boats on the main channels, small kayaks through the narrow canals, where the palm trees grow so close overhead that they block the sky and the water hangs over you. And the world contracts to a corridor of green. At Gai Rong, the Delta's largest floating market, the day begins before dawn. Hundreds of boats converge, each selling a single product. Mangoes on one boat, pineapples on another, dragon fruit, coconuts. Every vendor hangs a sample of their product on a pole at the bow, a system so elegantly practical that from a distance, every boat announces itself without a word. This is commerce, as it has been practiced on these rivers for generations, and it continues today with exactly the same logic. Phu Quoc, the island at the crossroads 45 kilometers off the southern coast, in the Gulf of Thailand, lies an island that until very recently almost no one knew about, had heard of. Phu Quoc, Vietnam's largest island, 574 square kilometers, home to 180,000 people, and moving fast. For decades, while millions of tourists flooded into Thailand's islands, Phu Quoc stayed quiet, undeveloped, pristine in a way that had almost become accidental. Then the airport opened in 2012. Special Economic Zone status arrived in 2020. By 2024, 5 million tourists were coming annually. The beaches here are exceptional in a way that feels almost unfair. Sao Beach on the southeast coast. White powder sand so fine, it produces a faint squeak underfoot. Water so clear that fish are visible, swimming around your ankles. Consistently appears on lists of Asia's most spectacular beaches. Long Beach stretches 20 kilometers along the western coast, where the sun sets over the Gulf of Thailand in colors that defy reasonable description. The island's waters produce some of the world's finest pearls. Pearl farming has been a major industry since the 1990s. At operating pearl farms, visitors can watch pearls, the entire process. Divers bringing up oysters that have been growing for 3 to 5 years, each one opened with precision because a single wrong cut destroys the pearl inside. Cream white, pink tinged, occasionally the rare black pearl that catches the light like nothing else. The central tension hanging over Phu Quoc is the same tension hanging over every beautiful place that the world suddenly discovers. Can it develop without destroying what made it worth its discovering? The Vietnamese government points to building height restrictions, protected forest zones, and sustainable tourism frameworks. Critics watch the construction cranes and remain skeptical. One thing is certain. This version of Phu Quoc, partly wild, partly developed, hovering at the threshold between discovery and transformation, will not last. Visit now and you are witnessing a specific moment that will not come again. In 5 years, it will be a different island. The soul of a dragon. Vietnam has 3,300 kilometers of coastline, 54 ethnic groups, 4,000 years of documented history. It is, in almost every sense, a country of contradictions held in productive tension. Hanoi is measured, conservative, rooted in tradition. Ho Chi Minh City is electric, open, and constantly reinventing itself. Both are entirely, unmistakably Vietnamese. The 1,000 kilometers between them is not just geography. It is the full range of what this country contains. The Vietnamese people have been through things that would have unmade most nations. 1,000 years of Chinese occupation, a century under French colonialism, 2 decades of the most doctrinal, destructive war the 20th century produced in Asia. Each time, Vietnam absorbed the blow, held its identity intact, and emerged with its culture not merely surviving, but reinforced. The numbers tell part of the story. GDP growth running at 6 to 7%, a poverty rate that has fallen from 70% to below 5% in the country the last 2 decades. A young population that is educated, globally connected, and deeply ambitious. Technology startups multiplying in Ho Chi Minh City, international corporations opening regional headquarters in Hanoi. A high-speed rail line between Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City is planned, 1,600 kilometers in 5 hours. Long Phan International Airport will open in 2026 with capacity for 100 million passengers annually. 30% of energy from renewable sources by 2030, and a plan to eliminate single-use plastics entirely while replanting mangrove forests and expanding marine protected areas along. A coastline that is one of the most biologically rich in the world. Vietnam's cuisine is a candidate for UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage status. The food here is not merely excellent, it is a social architecture. Families eat together. Friendships are maintained over meals. Business happens at tables. And the coffee. Egg coffee, Hanoi's invention. A layer of strong espresso beneath a mixture of beaten egg yolk and sweetened condensed milk. Thick and sweet and warm. Somewhere between a dessert and a revelation. The first sip is a surprise. The second is love. The third is something that follows you home. Vietnam is not a simple country to understand. It does not reduce to a single story or a clean narrative. It is layered in ways that take time to begin, to see. It is ancient and accelerating, traditional and experimental, measured and wild. A country that has earned every scar it carries and refuses to be defined by any of them. From the golden bridge above the clouds at Ba Na Hills to the floating markets at dawn on the Mekong. From the lantern light of Hoi An's full moon festival to the towers of Saigon blazing at midnight. From the ancient tombs of Hegra to the limestone spires of Halong Bay rising from still water in morning mist. Vietnam is not a destination you check off a list. It is a place that changes how you see, a country that asks you to pay attention to the food, to the history, to the faces, to the details that most travel never reaches. The dragon is rising, and the only real question left is whether you are ready to see it.
If you want to uncover more hidden stories, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends.